Yo. It's your boy Coolie. Hope y'all having a good Friday out here. It's another episode of Hood News. You dig? Just doing another little freestyle session. Ain't really have too much going on, but I definitely wanted to jump on because I told y'all last week I was gonna hop on and we was gonna have another Hood News. So we're gonna go ahead and get to it. I definitely appreciate everybody tapping in right now. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hope y'all having a good Friday. Let's see. All right. So I said we just freestyling. You know how we get down. I'd like to show y'all a few news articles and also like to, share a couple videos with you in regards to mental health and things of that nature. First thing I want to get into with y'all is this report that Biden's crisis help advance green transition. I don't know if you remember last week. I'm not sure if it was last week. Was talking about it. It's like a great reset. So in the midst of having this, I guess you can say, quote unquote, recession, or in the midst of this inflation or whatever, they're changing things that you're normally used to. For example, they're trying to get rid of the fossil fuels and go straight electric. And this article is basically pointing out this is kind of the agenda. So let's go ahead and tap into it. A new report suggests President Joe Biden's economic failures could be part of a plan to unleash the so-called green economy. According to the analysts of Biden's economic policies by the Epoch Times, skyrocketing gas prices and the supply chain crisis are actually helping advance the administration green agenda. The report pointed out that Biden's officials believe the U.S. is in the midst of a green transition. It noted citizens would be better off in the future if the Biden administration discouraged the use of gas-powered vehicles and realign supply chains now. Let's see. This is a tweet by Epoch Times opinion. As Americans bear the brunt of a sagging economy, President Biden appears to be framing this as a good thing. The U.S., Biden says, is in the midst of an incredible transition, paving the way for a green economy. So he's telling you, we're making changes. It's an incredible transition. Biden has suggested the current crisis helps bring down what he has called the old economy. The Epoch Times speculated that today's economic problems may have been planned. The old economy is like a play on the New World Order here, you guys. So pay attention to that. Here's a quote from Biden. Here's the situation. When it comes to gas prices, we're going through an incredible transition that is taking place, Biden stated. And God willing, when it's over, we'll be stronger and the world will be stronger and less reliant on fossil fuels when it is over. Meanwhile, a rising number of economists are warning Biden's energy policies are becoming the driving factor behind the inflation crisis, which is true because they always create order out of chaos. So if I can create a problem, I'm going to usher in a solution. So if I can make gas prices so high, I'm going to make you be in a position where you got to take one of these electric cars. And then in the midst of taking this electric car, now I can track you 24/7, not just from the cell phone. I can track you from your home to when you get in the vehicle to where you're going. Like it's complete. surveillance at that point when you go electric cars, y'all. Let's see. So the inflation has not peaked. So the inflation has not peaked, meaning it's going to get worse, y'all. And this is the problem. Runaway inflation at the gas pump and the grocery counter has been the lead indicator for recessions of the last 6 recessions in the United States, Scored explained. In the midst of talking this, man, I seen something on the 85 South show today. And what's up, Golden Awakening? And it kind of touched on this. Let me pull it up. Let me share that with y'all right now. Let's see. And it kind of touched on what he's talking about right there. And I think it was pretty dope that I kind of just touched on it. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me pull this up. While YouTube pulling up, let me finish this article. All right. As a result, U.S. consumers are facing shrinking incomes and worse quality of life. The U.S. economy shrank nearly 1.5% in the first quarter, which has added to the fears of a broader economic downturn. Now, this brother on the 85 South show, he's known as the Black Banker. Hold on 1 second. My wife always want to act up when I'm on with y'all. 1 second. Let's go. 85 South show. All right. Let's see. They have some good, pretty cool interviews on here too, man. Damn. Give me 1 second, y'all. 1 second. Molly and Erica. All right. So let's check this out. Gonna go towards the end. And I just want you to listen to what this brother is saying.
The market's better, so they winning. So it's just like the stock market, cars, anything. So with the rate that's right now, you don't see it going nowhere. It's
all right, let's go back because that was pretty
recently,
informative.
But it's strenuous. They're
100 pages.
Exactly.
Signing.
All right, so y'all check this out, y'all.
Yes. I was gonna invite Lil Mama, but I thought she was just.
Now let me explain to you who this couple is. This couple, she does things with celebrities. I'm not sure if she's a cook, but the guy that she's sitting next to, he's a banker for Citizens Bank. He's like the head banker there, and he's very informative in regards to how to use the bank and where to spend your money and things of that nature that comes along with banking. But he said something that was very it stood out to me. So y'all check this out.
They're gonna show up. When they come in here, she already in here. What's going on down there at the bank, man? Any news we need to know about?
No, man, just inflation going on, so prices on everything. The real estate market, and that even though rates are going up, I heard that a lot of the millennials and Generation Z are.
Let me run that back because I just seen that it was muted.
Thinking that don't be out there just spending right now, because things cost more. So
actually, 1 second. Let's make sure we're doing this right for y'all. Share. Here we go. All right, let's rock.
So saving and investing, I think I made a post on my Instagram about, the real estate market, and that, even though rates are going up, I heard that a lot of, the millennials and Generation Z are postponing, buying real estate, thinking that the market's gonna come back.
It's not going nowhere, is
it? But it's not coming back. See, they saw what happened with the Great Recession and think that that's normal, and that was like a once in a lifetime event, right? Where you had all those subprime mortgages that made us have a flood of inventory in the market, right? So that when you have a lot of houses and less buyers, that makes the prices of houses go down. Right? Because that's the supply and demand. You got more demand. You got more supply than the number of people willing to buy. But that happened because a lot of people who really couldn't afford houses got them because of those loan programs, and then they ended up not being able to afford them, so they're foreclosed. But now, because of that situation, it's so hard. I don't know if any of y'all have gone through the mortgage process recently, but it's strenuous.
100 pages.
Exactly.
Of signing your fucking name. And
they're gonna make sure that everything that you provide is legit, right? Because hey, we done seen fake, pay stubs, phony tax returns. But now, the IRS has a thing called a 4506T, which is just a form that banks fill out, or this to look at what you actually filed and compare that to what you gave.
You said you,
right? You know what I'm saying? So you gave us the tricky IRS tax return. Well, we can just go to the IRS and say,
how much?
What did he really file? And then when that don't match up,
I filed 800,000.
Right.
Now, if you hear what this brother is saying, he's saying it's a lot harder to get a mortgage, like get approved for a mortgage for a home, because they're doing extra steps to verify that you got the funds. So all that bringing fake documentation and stuff, like that shit used to fly a couple years back, but now they on top of that shit. And that's just not a coincidence. That's definitely not a coincidence. That's part of the whole Big Brother program, making sure we're able to monitor everything you got going on, even right down to your finances. But let him finish, because he say some more. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So now it's harder to get homes. So the point is that 5-6 years ago, rates were at 5 and 6%.
Shit was crazy.
Right? And people were like okay with it. Yeah. But then we got down to 2 and 3. And so now people like, man, I'm gonna wait till it get down to 2 or 3. It ain't never been down there. I bought a house for my mom that she bought in the 80s. And her rate was 14%.
Oh, not the
baby. It's never been.
And it's not
this
because
low
of bad credit or anything. It was just the cycle. That was it at that time. You know what I'm saying? So I just say to people, man, listen, if you real estate, man.
I appreciate you making me feel better about my home purchase.
Man, you want to win, bro. You're going to win. Like, it's people who, saw their houses go down in value during a recession. But like any investment, you only lose money when you sell. Right. So those same people like, when they sold, they lost. But somebody didn't sell, and now they ready to sell, and now they winning.
Right.
Because they waited it out, and now the market's better, so they winning. So it's just like the stock market, cars, anything. Right?
So with the rate,
whether the store.
So with the rate that's right now, you don't see it going nowhere. It's just up.
Yeah, well, again, they change rates to impact the economy, right? Yeah. So right now, when they say inflation, they just break down what inflation is. Real simple. I paid, let's see, we got 2 lighters, we got some gum, we got some of these raw papers, right?
Right.
Last year in 2021, this group of things right here cost $10. In 2022, this same group of things, nothing changed with the group. Now it costs $45. You understand? So that's inflation, when the same group of items just cost more. Why does it cost more? It's a bunch of things, like, well, you see, you had a whole bunch of supply chain things going on because of COVID and things like that. So that raises the prices. Mm-hmm. So what they trying to do is basically get people to stop spending money as much. Mm-hmm. So that's why prices are going up, and so they're gonna raise the interest rate. But real estate, I always say you almost never gonna lose, especially if you're in an area that people are coming to. Right. Atlanta, right. Yeah. We were just, Jay and I was talking about this earlier, man, this is so lit around here. You can't lose.
Next 3 years, you can make some money.
I was like, Jay-Z was here last night for a play.
All right, so you get the point. As he explained, real estate, even though that the housing market is high right now, it's still very lucrative because it's always going to be value within property. Now, so a few things I wanted to show y'all. You know how we rock when we rock, how we rock when we do rock. We like to go into the DM, you know, and look at shit. So I had seen this, and I want y'all to hear and listen to this because this was a news reporter explaining a study that was done that showed the difference in us having melanin versus you know, the white people. But y'all check this out.
Richard King reveals that the core of the human brain is the locus coeruleus, which is a structure that is black because it contains large amounts of neuromelanin, which is essential for its operation. 2, black infants sit, crawl, and walk sooner than whites. 3, Carol Barnes notes that human mental processes are controlled by melanin, that same chemical which gives blacks their superior physical and mental abilities. 4, some scientists have revealed that most whites are unable to produce melanin because their pineal glands are often calcified or non-functioning. Pineal calcification rates with Africans are 5 to 15%, Asians 15 to 25%, and Europeans 60 to 80%. This is the chemical basis for the cultural differences between blacks and whites. And 5, melanin endows blacks with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities, something which cannot be measured. Richard King reveals that the core of the human brain is the locus coeruleus, which is a structure that is black because it contains large amounts of neuromelanin, which is essential for its operation. 2, black infants sit, crawl, and walk sooner than whites. 3, Carol Barnes notes that human mental processes are controlled by melanin, that same chemical which gives blacks their superior physical and mental abilities. 4, some scientists have revealed that most whites are unable to produce melanin because their pineal glands are often calcified or non-functioning. Pineal calcification rates with Africans are 5 to 15%, Asians 15 to 25%, and Europeans 60 to 80%. This is the chemical basis for the cultural differences between blacks and whites. And 5, melanin endows blacks with greater.
It's a melanin endows black with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities, something which cannot be measured based on Eurocentric standards. All right. It says our melanin endows blacks with greater mental, physical, and spiritual abilities, something which we cannot be measured based on Eurocentric standards. All right. And the reason why I said that is because that same thing that allows us to have those abilities all connect us and allow us to be connected whenever we're tapped into the proper frequency. You want to know how? Pay attention to this. Now, this could have been, this right here could have been set up, staged, or what have you. But what I do want you to pay attention to is how this other brother comes in and get right in sync with this brother that's playing the piano.
No time for caution.
is an example of how in sync we are naturally without even having to try. It's a beautiful chaos. That's pretty dope. All right, let's hit something else. This was pretty weird to me, man. There's a lot of stuff been washing up on these shores, y'all. It's getting real spooky outside.
I've been trying not to go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna give me. I've been trying not to go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna give me a reason. I've been trying not to go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna give me.
What could that be, y'all? Yeah, it's definitely getting real spooky outside. Let's see what else I wanted to show y'all. Just check this out.
To understand quantum timeline jumping, let's take it back for a second. Every single moment in your past that you had to make a decision, there were at least two choices, if not more. Imagine you chose one thing, which is the reality you're currently experiencing in this space-time. Now imagine that those other choices still exist, just on another timeline. And all of those timelines exist in the quantum field. This is you in the present moment, and the current you is going to lead to a future based on your current trajectory. And if you step into a new state of consciousness, this will create a new future. Or you can enter a lower timeline in your future based on spiraling into fear, depression, sadness. Now, the timeline you'll choose for the future is actually already determined unless you choose differently. You must break the cycle to continue, evolve, or repeat. No problem can be solved with the same level of consciousness that created it. From my new book, 10 Secrets of Awakening. To understand quantum...
I felt that was pretty dope because a lot of us are experiencing that. We go through things seasonally and we wonder like, damn, why am I dealing with the same thing every year around the same time? It's because you're caught in the loop. And you caught in the loop that you probably created for yourself 9 times out of 10. That's been sparked by the environment around you. I'm gonna let this play one more time so this can resonate with y'all.
Some timeline jumping, let's take it back for a second. Every single moment in your past that you had to make a decision, there were at least two choices, if not more. Imagine you chose one thing, which is the reality you're currently experiencing in this space-time. Now imagine that those other choices still exist, just on another timeline. And all of those timelines exist in the quantum field. This is you in the present moment, and the current you is going to lead to a future based on your current trajectory. And if you step into a new state of consciousness, this will create a new future. Or you can enter a lower timeline in your future based on spiraling into fear, depression, sadness. Now, the timeline you'll choose for the future is actually already determined unless you choose differently. You must break the cycle to continue, evolve, or repeat. No problem can be solved with the same level of consciousness that created it. From my new book,
Evolve or Repeat. That's the book, y'all, if y'all interested in getting it. 10 Secrets of Awakening by Nick Zai, however, Z-E-I. You can pronounce it however you want to pronounce it, but there go the spelling. Z. All right, let's see what else we got in this DM. Hey, y'all check this out, though. It says, if you wear jeans all day long, I guess if you wear jeans all day long can hurt the muscles and nerves in your legs. I guess that's how they're trying to say it, but it also can decrease your blood circulation and make it harder for your veins to pump blood back towards the heart. And I truly believe this. I truly believe that this is real and this is a possibility, because if you look at the evolution of jeans, especially men jeans, they became tighter. And then also I got this weird theory, which is not too weird. If you look at the fashion industry, a lot of people in the fashion industry are part of the alphabet community, the LBGers, which, hey, if you rock that way, your preference, your sexual preference is your choice, and I have nothing against it. If that's how you want to rock out when you bust one, cool. That's your business. The thing I dislike is the lifestyle, that particular lifestyle being pushed amongst our youth at a very early age and also in a persuasive way. That's my only gripe with that community. Other than that, hey man, if you want to get pumped in the butt till it bleeds, that's your business. Go ahead. Whatever rocks your jolly. That's on you, my boy or my girl or whatever you want to be identified as. It. But yeah, my theory is that a lot of people of that community runs the fashion industry. And when it comes to the men, if you look at the underwear now, the material in the men's underwear have changed. It went from a cotton material to like this silky, sleek type material. And I feel like it was strategically done that way, so that way men have no choice but to sag in these urban communities. And it's mainly with the urban clothes, nigga clothes, black clothes, whatever. However, I like to talk real. All the jeans that's in the hoods, they set up and designed for niggas to sag. Even if you didn't want to sag, you still gonna sag because the silk material of your boxers is causing your jeans to slide down. This is a thing called friction, guys. And if there's no friction to keep my pants up while I'm walking, then yes, it's going to sag. And that's it. I just feel like that's just a sick joke that, you know, that community is playing on heterosexual men's. It's also men. It's also a way for them to emasculate the men. You know, it's just a part of a bigger agenda. But yeah, I definitely feel that this shit here with the jeans, this is true. So hey man, if y'all can avoid wearing certain materials, try to. Y'all check this out. We're not gonna stay in the DMs too long.
This is about to blow your mind. So-called white people are actually the black people. According to etymology, which is defining the underlying or true meaning of words, black goes back to an Indo-European base, fleg, a variant of bleg, bleak, originally meant pale, and comes ultimately from an Indo-European base, bleg, and until the 16th century in the north as Blake, its disappearance was no doubt hastened by its resemblance to black, both formally and semantically, since both pale and dark carry implications of colorlessness. Book reference: black, black, pale, wan, livid, to become pale. So the pale man is actually the black man. Wow. This is about to blow your mind. So-called white people are actually the black people. According to etymology, which is defining the underlying or true meaning of words, black goes back to an Indo-European base, fleg, a variant of bleg, bleak, originally meant pale, and comes ultimately from an Indo-European base, bleg, and until the 16th century in the north as Blake, its disappearance was no doubt hastened by its resemblance to black, both formally and semantically, since both pale and dark carry implications of colorlessness. Book reference: black, black, pale, wan, livid, to become pale. So the pale man is actually the black man. Wow.
So for everybody that's out there hollering Black Lives Matter, all right. All right. And you wonder why that particular movement ain't last long. It was never for you to begin with. It's word magic, y'all. Y'all check this shit out. This was interesting. A lot of this shit interesting.
You remember the Buffalo shooting that just happened? Make sure you watch until the end. It gets interesting. So if you didn't know, this guy here woke up and drove 200 miles to a grocery store in Buffalo, New York, shooting and killing 10 people and injuring 3 others. Now, among the people who were killed was a guy named Aaron Salters, and this is where things get a bit interesting. Now, what caught my attention about this is that Mr. Salters was just on the news about a month ago explaining an invention he made, which was an engine that runs completely off water, no fuel needed. A completely hydrogen fuel system. And we all know what happened to the last person who decided to come forth with an invention similar to this one.
Before Buffalo police rushed to Tops Friendly Market Saturday, there was Aaron Salter, the security guard, killed as he served and protected.
Aaron Salter, 55, retired Buffalo police officer. Loved electric cars.
He built a lab in his garage where he spent countless hours working to develop an engine that could run on water.
It's not really what for gas fuel? No, there's no gas fuel.
I can't tell you how I use it. I do have a patent pending.
A local inventor has discovered a way, hear this, to use water to run your car.
Do you remember the Buffalo shooting that just happened?
You think that's a coincidence that man was out there and they just so happened to talk about him as well? And that's not the first time they off somebody who had came up with a car that run on water. I believe I got the video of the other guy too. 1 second. Uno momento, por favor. Let's go, internet. Internet, don't fail me now. Let's go. Do I got it? Please let me have it. Oh, man. The further I go up, the more stuff I see that I'll be wanting to show y'all. Let's see. Fuck it, I'm not gonna keep looking for it. But yeah, it's another white man that came up with a patent and a design on having a car that runs on water. And they offed his ass too. You guys can look it up. But since I keep passing a bunch of cool shit that I wanted to show y'all, let's go down this rabbit hole.
This is going to be a highly controversial video, so keep an open mind and hear me out. If you're familiar with my content, you know I decipher various religious theologies with a non-biased opinion. This comment is referring to the Nation of Islam teaching of Yaqub. Yaqub was a scientist born in Arabia who is said to be the creator of the white race, whom he created 6,600 years ago. Prior to that, it was only black and brown people who inhabited inner earth and outer earth. Yaqub didn't like his own people, and he was furious with them for the death of his parents. So he decided to create a new race that would rule over the people. He learned that there were two germs in a black man that could be manipulated to create a new race. Through eugenics and selective mating, he was able to create a new race by isolating the recessive traits. This was known as grafting. This process of gene manipulation took over 600 years of trial and error to perfect. Through positive and negative assortative mating, they were able to produce various mutations. The first 200 years, they produced the brown man who migrated to Japan. The next 200 years, they produced the yellow man who migrated throughout Asia. The next 200 years, they were able to produce the recessive traits of blonde hair, blue eyes, and people of lighter skin. And they were sent to the mountains of Europe. When it comes to theological teachings, I try to compare the scientific evidence as well as how these theories correlate to other cultures around the world. There's plenty of evidence suggesting that human DNA did evolve from Africa. The University of Copenhagen conducted a study on blue-eyed individuals and found that 99.9% of them had a mutation in their OCA2 gene that made it useless. Now, I personally find the origin story of Yaqub itself interesting because it compares two of my favorite theories, the hollow earth theory of Agartha, as well as the Anunnaki being the creators of humans. And I'll cover this in another video because this is a rabbit hole in itself.
All right. So y'all heard him say about this race, Yaqub.
This is going to be a highly controversial video, so keep an open mind and hear me out. If you're familiar with my content, you know I decipher various religious theologies with a non-biased opinion. This comment is referring to the Nation of Islam teaching of Yaqub. Yaqub was a scientist born in Arabia who is said to be the creator of the white race, whom he created 6,600 years ago. Prior to that, it was only black and brown people who inhabited inner Earth and outer Earth. Yaqub didn't like his own people, and he was furious with them for the death of his parents.
He was furious with them for the death of his parents. Why? Because during that time, there was a war going on with these particular extraterrestrial races, or these advanced beings, or whatever you want to call them, alien or what have you, fallen ones, whatever you want to call this particular race, Yaqub. All right, it was a war going on at that time. You don't believe me? All right, I'm gonna show you some proof, because it was some soldiers caught talking about it in the break room. Listen to this.
What's the angry ones look like? The reptile ones that you were talking about?
Yeah, fucking bad. The ones that we're gonna be fighting.
These and these had a large war.
Okay, who won?
These guys, these guys won. They almost wiped these out, but that's all.
So we should be more worried
but their
about
planet was destroyed, so they had to go to the circle.
They took us back to their fucking planet.
They took 12 of us.
But this asteroid or whatever the fuck's gonna go on here pretty soon. Are these motherfuckers gonna come up as elder? What are they gonna do?
Maybe Jesus was an alien. You know what? They said that's a very strong possibility. That he wasn't an alien, but our DNA has been altered 68 times since caveman days.
Our DNA has been altered 68 times since the caveman days. And if you run that timeline back, it falls in line with the Yaqub story. Continue to listen.
The thing that they're calling an asteroid that's supposed to hit us and destroy us was actually not an asteroid. It's a spaceship. It was actually a spaceship of the reptilian. We're forming an alliance with them. We've actually sent 12 of our own to their planet, and they stayed there for 13 years.
Those are the
big motherfuckers. Those are the bad ones.
Those guys wouldn't invade us.
What's the angry ones look like? The reptile ones that you were talking about?
Yeah, fucking bad. The ones that we're gonna be fighting.
These and these had a large war.
Okay, who won?
These guys, these guys won. They almost wiped these out.
He said these and these had a large war. And remember, Yaqub was upset at his race because his parents died. They were involved in this particular war that he's referring to. If you do the research, if you can go on YouTube, I'll pull it up right now for y'all so y'all can see. Because y'all know I like to provide receipts. I won't be talking out my ass. Pause. Where is it? If y'all watch this right here, Big Head Scientist, the story of Yaqub and Yashima. This right here tell you the whole story that Buddy was talking about in regards to the graphing of the white people. You can definitely watch it. Since we out the DMs, I guess I'll go ahead and was it one more thing I wanted to show?
What's the angry ones look like? The reptile ones that you were talking about?
Yeah, fucking bad.
For those of y'all that's watching, man, let me know where y'all from in the chat. Let me know what state y'all from, because what I want to do, this called Hood News. So I want to start looking up stuff in y'all hood so I can make sure I share it so people know what's going on in y'all areas as well. It's important that we communicate with each other and let us know what's going on in our community so that way we know either what's to come or warn each other, you know what I'm saying, and we'll have a heads up. So as long as I'm able to have this platform, man, I want to be tapped in with everybody, and I just want to have a voice for everybody so people can know what's going on in their communities, so that way we can, have solutions if possible. All right, there's two more things in the DM that I want to show y'all. Check this out.
Okay, TikTok, let's learn a little law. The 4 levels of police encounters: custodial arrest, Terry stop, caretaker encounter, and consensual encounters. Freeze the thing and read these. You see no traffic in this. Traffic violations are just that, violations, not crime. Look at the crimes. So while you getting pulled over, ask the cop, what are you doing? Am I under a custodial arrest? Because there's no crime. Where's the corpus delicti? That means was the you see that? Crimes against the person or related to crimes against property. If you didn't commit a crash or accident or run somebody over, you did not commit a crime. They trying to get you under color of a law, which is violation. Stop. Okay, TikTok, let's learn a little law. The levels of the 4 levels of police encounters: custodial arrest, Terry stop, caretaker encounter, and consensual encounter.
So basically, he's saying that these are the only 4 types of police encounters that you can have.
Freeze
based by
thing
law.
and read
Let me see
these. You see no,
but it's what he's pointing out. There's nothing on here
traffic
for traffic
in this.
stops.
Traffic violations are just that, violations, not.
So he's saying it's a violation to you for it to even be happening, because this is something that's not even, traffic stops aren't even supposed to be happening to you, because you're not traveling as a person of commerce. You're traveling as your God-given right. The only time these particular laws, those highway laws, apply to an individual is when they have a commercial driver's license and they're driving a commercial vehicle. And commercial vehicles are identified by those numbers that you see on the side of the vehicles. So by you traveling, you as an individual have a God-given right and a constitutional right to travel anywhere amongst this country freely in a vehicle. Your vehicle is your vessel, your private vessel that you're using along their highways, but it's not a commercial vehicle. So it's a whole lot of loopholes with that shit, man. And if you're interested into that type of stuff, I suggest you follow him. His Instagram. Hold on, let me go back to it real quick, because he's very informative. He goes deep into that law stuff with the lingo. Come on, internet. You always be trying to twirl a nigga when you trying to show people stuff, bruh.
Okay, TikTok.
His Instagram is John Harris Morris Law. Let me pull it up one more time. Let's see how did I do that? Right there. Shout out to that brother. John Harris Morris Lawyer. Morris Lawyer. My fault. He got a website called realtruthphotos.com. But check him out, man. He's very informative. All right. And the last thing I want to show y'all is this clip from this movie with this DM in the DMs. We're about to transition to the mental health portion of Hood News. Y'all know how we rock. Mental health is wealth. Let's see. It's a clip of this movie where it shows how they created the neighborhoods and how in their plot with the housing market.
Move just one black family into a decent white neighborhood, and the other homeowners will throw money at you faster than you can count it.
Negroes aren't stupid. Given a choice, even they don't want to live among other Negroes.
Nothing more American than people willingly paying double for something they can't afford in the first place.
What happens once they realize they have been swindled?
Well, you could always ask Miss Cloister if you could borrow a sanitary napkin.
If they make their mortgage payments, we win. If they default, we win.
Well, you pray they miss their nut, then you put those houses right back on the market.
At another markup. And by this time, it's an all-Negro neighborhood.
An entire population of Negroes who can't secure traditional mortgages.
Do you need an abacus?
Uncle, 6%.
Oh, there you go.
So this is how they did it. This is how white people created the hood. This is how white people created the ghetto. This was done purposely. They wanted to turn black neighborhoods into prisoner-making machines.
Move just one black family into a decent white neighborhood, and the other homeowners will throw money at you faster than you can count it.
Negroes aren't stupid. Given a choice, even they don't want to live among other Negroes.
Nothing more American than people willingly paying double for something they can't afford in the first place.
What happens once they realize they have been swindled?
Well, you could always ask Miss Cloister if you could borrow a sanitary napkin.
If they make their mortgage payments, we win. If they default, we win.
Well, you pray they miss their nut, then you put those houses right back on the market.
At another markup. And by this time, it's an all-Negro neighborhood.
An entire population of Negroes who can't secure traditional mortgages.
Do you need an abacus?
Uncle, 6%.
Oh, there you go.
So this is how they did it.
And this is how they do it. They sit and hold meetings just like this and figure out how they can make moves and control us. And if you look, damn,
this is how
I don't know why
Move just one.
go through it. But if you look, it was a particular section in the area, and they made sure everybody was boxed in. All right, let's keep moving because we're already coming up on the hour. Do I want to show y'all this? All right, I'll say that Cat Williams shit for last. Let's go ahead and get into this hood news, this mental health stuff. All right. This particular mental health video is titled Avoidant Personality Disorders. What is it? So we're going to see what avoidant personality is and see if this could relate to any of us or anyone you may know.
I'm so fat. Brendan, you're not fat. It's the shirt. Look at Nate. His true classic is tighter on the chest and shoulder.
Hey Psych2Go family. Before we start, we want to thank you for supporting us. Psych2Go's mission is to help everyone learn more about psychology and mental health in a digestible way. Now, let's begin. Personality is a way of behaving, thinking, and feeling that makes you different from the people around you. Therefore, a personality disorder is when your behavior significantly deviates from cultural expectations, is inflexible, and causes you distress and problems in other areas of your life. In this video, we'll be focusing on avoidant personality disorder, which is also known as APD. This disorder describes someone who constantly feels inadequate, is hypersensitive to criticism, and avoids social interactions. Before we begin, we would like to mention that this video is created for educational purposes only and is not intended to substitute a professional diagnosis. If you suspect you or someone else may have avoidant personality disorder or any mental health condition, we highly advise you to seek help from a qualified mental health professional. So what is avoidant personality disorder? In the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, avoidant personality disorder is characterized by patterns of social withdrawal, inadequacy, and fear of criticism. Fear of criticism. A person with APD may completely avoid socializing with others or only socialize if they know that the people there like them. This is because of their fear of rejection. For example, they may purposely avoid group meetings with their coworkers because of their fear of being judged and criticized. They want to ensure that there is no possible way that they'll ever experience something negative from others. Furthermore, they may be scared of intimate relationships with others as well. You're probably wondering, what causes a person to fear rejection so much to the point where they withdraw from social contact and avoid intimate relationships? Well, another critical aspect of avoidant personality disorder is inadequacy. This can be described as feelings of low self-esteem. They may doubt themselves constantly, especially in social situations, and see themselves as inferior to others. These feelings of inadequacy may be so extreme to the point that they completely withdraw themselves from intimate relationships and social situations. Social withdrawal. Due to their fear of criticism and feelings of inadequacy, people with an avoidant personality disorder may withdraw completely from social situations. Their social withdrawal allows them to lessen their fear of rejection as well as to avoid situations where they feel worse about their inadequacy. Someone with APD may seem instead to only be shy, timid, or lonely. It's important to distinguish having these traits versus having this personality disorder. This is why it's especially important you remember that determining whether a person meets the criteria is the responsibility of a mental health professional. You should not try to diagnose yourself or someone else. Did you find this video insightful? What other personality disorders would you like to learn more from us? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
What y'all think? Y'all let me know in the comments. I feel like, damn, I got a little bit of APD my damn self, or I have experienced it, or I do experience it in some situations. Not necessarily in all situations, but hell, we all may have a little bit of that APD shit. Let's go into the next video. It's titled 7 Things That Can Tell You a Lot About a Person.
My life would be completely different without the Google Career Certificate.
What?
I lost my job due to COVID, and I needed something that would help me today.
Did you find
The
it?
biggest benefit of the Google Career Certificate was getting that stamp of approval now, something that could validate me right away so that I could turn that around immediately for my kids. I was told that the Google Career Certificate would take 6 months to complete. I did it in 6 weeks.
What?
Put your skills to work with a Google Career
Hey Psych2Goers, and welcome back to another video. Thank you all so much for the love and support you've given us. Psych2Go's mission is to make psychology more accessible to everyone. So let's begin. Don't we all hope to understand one another better? How can you get a good idea of what kind of person your new friend or acquaintance is? If psychology has taught us anything, it's that people are complicated. There's no quick and easy way to assess a person's true character and motivations. But there are a few tips and tricks that can help you gain better insight into someone's character. The people around us can give a lot of information about themselves without even knowing it. They express it in the little things that they do. All you have to do is observe carefully. So, here are 7 small things that can tell you a lot about a person. 1. Their body language. From posture to facial expressions to hand gestures, researchers believe that our body language and nonverbal cues make up to over 65% of all communication. Interpreting someone's body language can be a powerful tool in helping you to understand their personality, attitudes, and feelings. For example, facial cues like smiling convey happiness. Furrowed brows denote confusion, and biting at your lip means you're worried, anxious, or distressed. Clenched fists indicate anger or frustration. Crossed arms are a sign of defensiveness. And fidgeting can mean boredom, impatience, or deep thought. Learning how to better read someone else's body language can go a long way in helping you understand what someone is thinking, even if they don't say a word to you. 2. Their social media accounts. A person's profile and the way they present themselves online can reveal a lot about their personality, traits, and interests, including the way in which they want to be seen. Their social media presence shows how connected they want to be, while their privacy setting shows how much they're comfortable sharing with people. The pictures they post or share tell you a lot about what they like, whether it's going out with friends, eating good food, or watching movies. And the things they tweet about can give you a lot of insight into their likes, dislikes, and opinions as well. 3. The way they dress. Another great way you can learn a lot about a person without ever even talking to them is by observing the way they dress. For example, those who dress casually are often laid back and easygoing people who value comfort over style and don't care much for impressing others. Whereas those who like to wear colorful clothes and fun patterns are usually creative and artistic types who want to express themselves through their fashion sense. Floral prints and dresses convey femininity and grace, while activewear and sporty clothes reveal confidence and dependability. And formal attire exudes sophistication and assertiveness. 4. Their taste in music. For many of us, our musical taste is an integral part of our personal identity. We're drawn to certain genres and artists that speak to us on an emotional level. We connect with music that helps us better understand ourselves. Getting to look at someone's personal playlist can inform you about their inner world. Those who mostly listen to jazz, soul, and R&B tend to be sensitive, poetic, passionate, and deep, while people who like acoustic and folk music are usually thoughtful, calm, and warm. And those who enjoy pop and dance music are often upbeat, fun, outgoing, and cheerful. 5. How they treat strangers. American author Dave Barry once said, "A person who is nice to you but rude to the waiter is not a nice person." The way in which you treat people of lower social status than you or people who have nothing to offer you is a telling aspect of your character. When someone is rude or disrespectful to a stranger, like a barista or a server, it shows that they're superficial and overprivileged. It can signify that they're only charming or kind when they have something to gain from the other person. First featured in the book unwritten rules of management. This is known as the waiter rule, and it's something you can use to gauge how caring, considerate, and empathetic a person truly is. 6. How they make eye contact. Appropriate eye contact is a good way for someone to signal that they're paying attention to you and that they're interested in what you're saying. But those who often break eye contact may be nervous, uncomfortable, or distracted. Shy people also have trouble looking someone in the eye for too long, especially if they find the other person attractive or intimidating. Dilated pupils indicate desire. Rapid or excessive blinking conveys distress. Narrowed eyes show that the other person may be threatened or suspicious of you. And number 7, the shopping cart theory. Finally, we have the shopping cart theory. As the name suggests, the shopping cart theory puts in position that whether or not we choose to return the shopping cart once you're done with it is the ultimate litmus test for your capacity for self-governance. Returning the shopping cart is easy and convenient, but not altogether necessary. It's recognized as the proper thing to do. And yet, there are no dire consequences waiting for us if we don't perform this task. There's nothing to gain from returning your shopping cart, so the only reason someone would do so is because they know it's simply the right thing to do. To return the cart is to do so out of nothing more than decency, kindness, and common courtesy. From their thoughts and feelings to their true character, it's important that we know how to assess people so we can make better decisions about them. These little psychology hacks can come in handy in the dating pool, making friends, job hiring, and can help you make a good first impression. Did you learn something new about how to read and understand others in this video? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to Psych2Go and hit the notification icon for more content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.
I hope that was informative for y'all, because it definitely was informative for me. And what's crazy is some of those 7 things are like things that I naturally look at people in regards to like body language, for sure, because body language is a whole another language within itself. And if you pay attention to it, you definitely will see what a person is telling you without even them telling you something. So I felt that was very interesting. We got one more short video in regards to mental health. Shout out to Psych2Go, because they definitely have some pretty good videos.
I feel Let's Go moment coming on.
Let's go. The reality of living with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease means you might be dealing with...
Hey Psych2Goers, welcome back to our channel, and thank you so much for all the love that you've given us. Your ongoing support has helped us make psychology and mental health more accessible to everyone. As a quick disclaimer, we wanted our viewers to know that this is a fun activity video, and this video should not be taken too seriously or used as any kind of diagnostic criteria. With that said, let's continue. Did you know that not only do you have a physical age, which changes with the ever-turning wheel of time, but that you also have a mental age that will never change? Different from your physical age, your mental age is how old you are emotionally and psychologically. Your physical age and your mental age do not have to be the same. As an adult, you can have a low mental age, processing a childlike view of the world around you. A young person can have a high mental age, indicating that you're wise beyond your years. It's important to note that mental age is also not your IQ number, but rather an expression of how you feel inside. Figuring out what your mental age is a great way to become more self-aware. If you'd like to learn about your mental age now, grab a pen and paper or open up the Notes app on your device. You can take this fun quiz to determine your mental age. There are 10 questions to answer, so make sure you mark your answers as we go. Let's begin. Number 1, what do you usually do when you make a mistake? A, admit you made an error and try to fix it. B, try to figure out why you made the mistake in the first place. Or C, laugh at your silly mistake and ask for help so you don't make another one. Number 2, what's the first thing you do when a friend cancels plans on you last minute? A, tell them it happens and find another way to spend your time. B, feel upset about it, but move on eventually. C, try to find another day to hang out and have fun together. Number 3. How would you normally react if someone was angry with you? A. Give them space to be angry before talking to them. B. Try to work things out right away. Or C. Tell them jokes until they forget their anger. Number 4. What's the first thing you would do if you won the lottery? A. Pay off your bills and put the rest in a savings account. B. Go on vacation and make new happy memories. Or C. Buy that cool thing you've been wanting for a while. Number 5. What's the first thing you would do if you had to choose between two equally good things? A. Think on your previous experiences so you make an informed decision based on facts. B. Make a list of pros and cons and then choose the option with more pros. Or C. Ask someone for their opinion and do what they suggest. Number 6. How do you usually handle a major disagreement in the workplace or in school? A. Calmly discuss the disagreement and try to come up with a compromise. B. Go to a supervisor or teacher who would be able to help figure out what to do. Or C. Get the other person to see your side of things. Number 7. What would you usually do if you had a big project due tomorrow? A. Get started on it right away so you'll be able to relax later. B. Take some time to relax first and then start working on it as soon as you're done relaxing. Or C. Alternate between working on it and taking breaks. Number 8. Which of your responsibilities would you eliminate if you could? A. Paying bills. B. Doing laundry. Or C. Picking up after yourself. Number 9. How would you habitually react when someone compliments you? A. Accept the compliment and give them one in return. B. Accept the compliment and thank whoever complimented you. Or C. Don't accept the compliment by saying you don't deserve it. And number 10. How do you normally respond when you embarrass yourself? A. Acknowledge and validate your feelings, but realize it doesn't matter in the long run. B. Try to pretend like nothing happened, but internally obsess over the feeling of embarrassment. Or C. Feel upset over it and possibly even cry. Okay, are you ready for your results? If you got mostly A's, your mental age is between 40 and 55. Your mindset is more so self-assured and secure. You tend to think about things in a matured manner. If you answered B the most, your mental age is 20 to 40 years old. You struggle with finding your way, and though it may be difficult, you always wind up on the right path in the end. If you answered mostly C's, your mental age is between 10 and 20 years old, and your perception of the world is young and bright. When I took the test, my mental age was rated higher than my chronological age. And I agree with my results. I've always kind of felt like an old soul. Do you feel like your mental age is aligned with your actual age?
Hopefully those of you that are watching, y'all took the time out, answer those questions, pause it, and hopefully see what your mental age is. Now, when I was on last week, I did say that I was gonna start showing you guys some prepping ideas and some things that you can do for yourself at home in regards to putting yourself in a position to survive a off-grid. I just got a brain fart, y'all. So basically, what I'm trying to tell y'all is, hey, when shit hit the fan, you need to have shit in place to have yourself survive, to make sure you and your family survive. So I told y'all last week I was gonna start showing y'all prepping videos and stuff. So here's some. I got 2 short videos that I feel that will be informative to the new preppers or anyone that's new to prepping or that's beginning to start their stockpile or things of that nature. You may not know what you need to stockpile or what would be useful to have in a situation where everything, the power was down, there weren't any foods on the shelves in the grocery stores. You know, there's certain things that you can grow year round to make sure that you and your family can survive. And next week, I'll make sure I show you options on things that you can build within your home to to grow food for yourself. Let's see, I might do it just anyway since it's Friday. We might rock out for a little bit just cause we've been on for an hour. Normally I try to just go for an hour, but we're just gonna rock. I got a few
guys. When it comes to prepping and survival, there are items that really you need to kind of stock up on or hoard, if that's a good word for it. There are certain items that you will just continually need, and it's very important in a grid down situation to have those items. So today we're going to take a look at 15 items. There are a lot more, but these to me are my top 15. And guys, if you're serious about prepping and survival, check out Survival Dispatch Insider, one of the best resources on the web, some of the top names in the survival world. We upload exclusive videos there every week. I have a link down below in the description. Check it out. One of the big items that you want to stock up is toilet paper. Now, toilet paper is big and it's clunky. The rolls are thick. But having toilet paper, it's not really a good substitute. That's this inexpensive. We always try to buy these 12 packs and then just stock them up. But definitely toilet paper to me is one of the first. Duct tape, of course, you've got your standard duct tape, and we have Gorilla Tape, which is great. I would be careful buying some of the lesser expensive or the lesser known brands just because you want something that's really going to hold. If you're needing duct tape, you really need it to stick. Now, the U.S. military uses 100-mile-an-hour tape. That is also excellent. Comes in a lot of different colors. This is just a few rolls that I have, but I try to keep extra duct tape in a good place that doesn't get too hot because you don't want this to become sticky and unusable. Fire is something that's essential in a survival situation. One big thing that I like to do is when I'm, in line at Walmart or wherever, I grab a pack of lighters. And I just throw them in the bag, and I keep these. I've got a container where I keep all these different lighters. I like Bic. They just seem to work most of the time. But I also keep a lot of matches. Strike Anywhere matches are my preferred choice. But I do use regular standard matches as well. Box type is what I like. Of course, stormproof matches really are probably the best. I mean, that's really what you need. What I like is this little container. It does keep the matches themselves in this container all waterproof. So even though they are stormproof and you do have a little tinder and you do have a striker right here on the side. So, this is just another way. Now, of course, these are a lot more expensive than your standard matches, so you can really stock up on these. But I would definitely have some stormproof matches. Of course, here's one of my fire kits, and I have my, ferrocerium rod and different fire tenders and things like that. But typically, as far as stocking up, matches and lighters are really what I try to stock up on. Batteries are definitely something to have on hand. Really, Duracell to me last longer than any of the other batteries, for me, including Energizer. And so I've always keep these handy. And then also the CR123s, I use those in a lot of my flashlights, and in a lot of my optics, we have different small batteries, like watch battery types. The 2032s are a big one. All these boxes have the 2032s. I buy a lot of those on eBay in bulk packs. Also, the CR123s, rechargeable batteries have a recharger, but over long term, you may not have power. And so I don't really depend too heavily on my rechargeable batteries. The CR123s will last up to 10 years shelf life. Of course, your standard Duracell, AA's and AAA's, guaranteed to last for 10 years. And honestly, guys, we live in an electronic age. We're always needing batteries anyway, so it's good to have a stockpile. Flashlights are good for any time. One of the things about light is it is your number one security tool. So you want to definitely have flashlights. And of course, this goes along with the batteries. And sometimes, you have the old school, like this old mag light. This can be used as a baton for self-defense, but so can this Olight Warrior X. I mean, with the crenulated bezel. In fact, flashlights are number one for a self-defense weapon. So that is one thing, but there's a ton of different choices. Headlamps, your old military surplus flashlights. Again, this is a little more of an advanced headlight by Zebra Light. And then you've got also like lanterns. And so this can be used as a flashlight, but we can also use it as a light, in certain situations where a candle just doesn't work. And this compacts down. It's really easy to carry. Then here at the front, then you have a flashlight here. So there's so many different choices, but here's the reason why you need to hoard some flashlights. If something goes wrong with a flashlight, which they tend to do, I mean, they're electronics, you have extras, you have backups. And with light, again, being your number one security tool, it's important to have light. Candles, a big one. We just had our power out the other night, had a transformer to blow. We had a ton of candles. We were able to light the house up fine without using undue power from our flashlights, etc. Of course, we had our flashlights and we could use those, but the different type candles, even tea light candles, there's a lot of different options. These are just really inexpensive candle options. Of course, my wife gets the big ones. You can get the 12-hour candles. There's a lot of different choices, but you can start out cheap and build from there. And guys, who hasn't had their power out at some point? Unscented bleach not only cleans, keeps things clean, but also you can purify water. And that's probably the most important part of bleach. You need to make sure, again, that it is unscented, and you can go with a brand name, or here I have just a, generic. We have 2 big Berkeys, so we can definitely stay in drinking water, but having the bleach serves so many different purposes. Plastic bags. One of the big things about plastic bags, especially these contractor bags, and typically I get these at Home Depot. They are heavy meal. They are awesome. I keep them in my go bag. They can be used as a tarp. They can be used as a poncho. I mean, it can be used to carry stuff. I mean, there's a ton of different things that these trash bags will do. And the heavy meal are the best to really stock up on. But we do use the standard compact bags as well. There may be times where we need them. And so having some kind of bag, you can just throw things in it. You can haul it. I mean, there's so many different things. And really, guys, try to get some of the best bags that are out there, the real tough ones. You don't want something falling out. But again, bags, all different types, but the contractor bags to me are number one. Along with the same theme of trash bags, keeping these small little grocery bags can be really useful, especially hauling things. You can load a bunch of stuff in here, especially small items, and then you can carry it. So this is something that's really easy. Of course, it's cheap because you get them for free. And there's a lot of different ways that you can store these to keep them out of the way. Definitely a useful item are tarps. And we just get the standard tarps. They're fairly inexpensive, with the eyelets. And then we have the heavy duty tarps. These are really good. And then here I have a camo tarp. And I like to keep them in the plastic if we're storing them, just to kind of keep it nice and clean. But we even have canvas tarps that we use, and a number of different types. And this is something that I definitely want to keep plenty of. If you have some kind of environmental accident, maybe your house, a tree limb goes through it, you can put this over it. A vehicle, you can put tarp over it if you have a window to break. But then just covering up things. There's so many uses for tarps. Laying this down on the ground if you're in a bug out situation. I mean, these can even create a lean-to. They can create a shelter. Again, guys, there's just so many things you can do with tarps. Socks, another great item to be able to hoard. Definitely we wear through socks. I mean, they can go out fairly easily. And so a good pair of quality socks will last longer. But, if you really want to, and of course, there's so many different choices too with the different materials. Here we have some Keens, and these have their wool. These are excellent. Then we have just some sports socks. But the main thing is, having socks is going to protect your feet, and you need to be able to protect your feet. One of the things about the homeless is that is the number one item they need, and it's the least donated item. So just a little side note with socks, go buy some socks, take it to your local shelter or, Goodwill or something like that and donate them. But first, hoard some for yourself. Salt's definitely another one of those things that you need to store, but you need to keep it in a cool, dry place. You don't want it to clump up. But, there are reasons why we buy salt licks if we have livestock. They need salt. You need salt. It has to be part of your diet. I like salt with iodine in it. Of course, you need iodine, so this really helps. You do have a lot of salt in foods, but in a grid down situation, you're not going to have as much processed food, so there's not going to be as much salt. So keeping salt's a no-brainer. Guys, most of the seed that you find at the store is non-GMO, but it's hybrid seed. And so what happens is it doesn't reproduce. Finding some heirloom seeds are really key to long-term survival. Being able to not only plant, but also to harvest the seeds once the plants, have died down in the fall. And so getting your seeds, going ahead and getting you a garden. Guys, it's really crazy to try to plant a garden for the first time after an SHTF situation or after grid down. And so for long term, this is the only item really that pertains to food, but this is your self-sustaining way to keep food on the table. Non-hybrid seeds, and there's a ton of different places you can get these. Guys, there's a lot of things that run on propane. Here we have a couple of the small little camping propane cylinders.
I wanted to pause that real quick because he said something real essential. He said it'll be a crazy situation for you to be trying to grow in the grid down situation, meaning that the shit already hit the fan. So basically, you want to be doing this now. Like, you want to be putting in the work now. You want to be practicing now, figuring out the trial and errors. Really quick, let me show you guys this. Like he said, the seeds in the store is cool, but the thing about the seeds in the store, you may not be able to, the fruit that you bear may not be able to reproduce another seed so that you can continue to grow your vegetables or whatever you choose to grow. So also, as he said, they're hybrid seeds, so they're not original like seeds. So that fruit is not going to be a original fruit. It's going to be a hybrid fruit. So he said that you want to obtain heirloom seeds, and that's spelled HEIRLOOM seeds. Once again, H as in Harry, EIR, L as in Larry, OOM. And I just did a simple search, and there's plenty of companies, plenty of websites that pop up that provide these seeds. And I just seen something look like they may be at decent prices. A high yielding variety with sweet tender flavor, between $3.95 to $6.95. It looks like you get all of this for $65.99. They got different price options, so I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find something that meets your price range, and that will help you out on your gardening journey, so that we can get some practice in. But yeah, you want to get some heirloom seeds. So yeah, let's finish the video. He's on number 13. We got 2 more to go.
But of course, those that are on your grills, having extras, having them filled up. We always keep about 4 or 5 that are filled at all times in case we need them. And then we keep a supply of these smaller ones. And there's a lot of different things that you can attach to these. So definitely, this is a great way to be able to have some kind of fuel. It's actually pretty stable. Now, going a little old school with a lantern can give you some light, and it's refillable with either your lamp oil. You can put kerosene in it. You can put different things to be able to run this. So the big thing that you need to hoard are lamp wicks and lamp oil, or at least try to have some on hand. But the wicks are definitely important. You may be able to find oil or something to burn in your lantern, but without the wick, it's not going to do you any good. Also, if you have Coleman lanterns, the mantles, having those stocked up also is a huge plus. Guys, cordage. You can definitely use cordage in a lot of different ways. It is one of the elements for a survival kit. Paracord seems to be the most versatile. One of the big reasons is because true paracord is the 550 cord, which means it's rated up to 550 pounds. 7-strand core means that there are 7 strands inside here that you can utilize. And so obviously the military's been using this forever, but civilians as well. This stuff is gold. So make sure that you have plenty of paracord. I have tons of this stuff, and I'll tell you what, I use it all the time. And guys, obviously having a stock of water and food and those things, that's really a no-brainer. Guys, last but not least, medical supplies. I mean, you need to keep the essentials, whether it's, gauze, tape, splint material. Here we have one of the AMP3. This is the Outfitters kit. This thing is like a clinic in a roll. This thing is awesome. It's not cheap, but guys, I'll tell you, it has all the essentials. Of course, USN ER Doc is a emergency room doctor that puts this together. I've got reviews on this and a lot of other things, so I don't want to really get too much into it. Having a tourniquet, chest seals, just a lot of different things. You have some scissors. We have a ton of things in here. This is actually from Skinny Medic, and that's
all right. And as he said, you definitely want to have water for sure stockpiled up. And basically when it comes with the water, when it goes to the water, you know, individuals supposed to have a gallon of water a day in regards to the H2O portion of water. So when you go to store it, you want to make sure that you want to times that a gallon of water per individual in your household, and you want to at least do that by times 2 if you can per day. And also, if you can, you want to try to have a water filtration system, and that way you can clean dirty water. Now, with this video I'm about to play for you, this guy is showing you how you can create endless hot water without electricity. So say if the grid does go down and we don't have any power, he's showing you an alternative method of how you can create hot water for yourself in a grid down situation. This video is 7 minutes, so let's go.
Hey folks, Engineer 775 here. Wanted to show you on a rainy day, I chose this day on purpose, how to make hot water using a thermosiphoning process. The coil that I've made, bent this with ice. You can do it with sand. There's a video I've done on this project. I've placed it inside some stovepipe, drilled 2 holes on the other side, and I've adapted it down to 4-inch. This is all inexpensive stovepipe from a local hardware store, and then some copper tubing for the thermosiphoning process. And what I'm going to be doing is, as the water comes into this hot coil, it will rise up in the coil and dump into the top of the water heater I picked up. Somebody was throwing it away. So I have the ability to heat that 40-gallon water heater with some sticks that people were throwing away. So this is a do-it-yourself hot water on-demand heater that could supply you plenty of water, hot water that is, in a grid down situation. So let's get her started. It's raining, it's starting to pick up a little bit, but I want to show you what you can do with some scraps, things that have been scavenged and things thrown away, but really focusing on what the little StoveTech stove can do for you. Okay, we've got the fire going pretty good here in our stove. And I just want to show you what kind of temperatures we're getting. There's 540 degrees. That's where the coil is sitting. Right in there, I think 556, 565. 565 was the max temperature I think I'm getting right now. And I removed some of the stack. I had too much stack on there. I was getting too much airflow, and I wasn't getting the heat. I do have a diffuser plate, little cap sitting on here right above the coil to keep the heat down in this chamber, so I get a good heat exchange. Again, the cold water is coming from the bottom. Let me show you that. And it's a standard water heater. So I just cold water from the drain, and I just teed off, put a shut off and a check valve. And then the cold water goes and it hits the bottom of the coil, and then it rises up in here. So this is, you can hear some gurgling. Let's see. Here. And this thing will burn your hand off. It's so hot. And that gurgling, that's hot water going to the top. You can see this thing shake a little bit as it thermosiphons and pumps. What I'm going to do is disconnect this line because you really can't see, and I'll be back. All right, so I've disconnected this line, and I'm going to bring it down here to the side. I'm trying not to burn myself. So, all right, I've pulled this thing down, and you can see this thing spitting water, okay? I don't know if you see the steam coming off, but this is being done without electricity, folks. This is just through the heat. I'll put some hot water in this bottle. Yeah, it's not a fast process, but there's no electricity, there's no pump. And this water, you see the steam rolling off it. It's going to melt this plastic bottle. Oh yeah. So
So as he explained, he's showing you a solution to where you can
And
create hot
that's
water
very,
for yourself.
very hot. So you can see
without the electricity.
on demand, see it's steaming.
And
This is just a natural process. And this, you see the steam coming off it, but that is hot. Now the water was about 180 degrees. So yeah, this can be a little dangerous, but you need hot water for your dishes or for laundry. And this thing is just pumping away. There goes a little steam. So it's kind of like an old coffee pot. We're just percolating here. You feed a little wood in, let that thing burn. And there's no electricity down here, folks. It's just pumping water by using heat. I think you can see the steam coming off. So it'd take a little while, but
So you get the idea, and he basically showed you the formula. You just pay attention. You can rewind it, go back, and you can see. But it's definitely a simple setup. And he's just using firewood in a pump, and it's pumping in the cold water. So, all right, that's cool with the off-grid situation. Let's see. All right, I definitely want to share this video with y'all. I was going to get into some shit with the Cat Williams, but I'm going to save that for the next time I get on Hood News. I hope y'all get what Hood News is, man. Hood News is what I feel news should be every day for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Even for myself. So I hope y'all get the understand what Hood News is and understand what the purpose of these videos I'm sharing with you are, the particular articles that I am sharing with you guys, you know. So I hope you guys get it. If not, stay tuned, you're gonna figure it out. So let's get into this one video titled and shout out to Engineer 775. We want to make sure we give credit to all the videos that we do use on Hood News, so that way we don't get hit with no bullshit privacy stuff and all that other bullshit. All right, so we're gonna get into this dude named Jake Tran. That's the name of his channel, but he had a pretty interesting video entitled 1971, the year humanity became enslaved. So let's check this out.
I'm Eric. You might know me from YouTube, where I went from 0 to 1 million subscribers.
Left off at. All right, let's go.
The U.S. For the decades leading up to 1971, the U.S. experienced a ton of real massive growth. Workers went from making $675 a year, or $19,000 in today's money, to more than $56,000 in today's money by the late 60s. People enjoyed paid leave and sick days for the first time. They could pay off student loans, buy houses and cars, and enjoyed a financially stable life. Payroll increased by at least 32% in the 60s alone. Fiber optic cables, LEDs, weather satellites, the heart pacemaker, the internet, DRAM for computers, lasers were all invented in the 60s alone. We landed on the moon. The upper, middle, and lower classes were all moving up together in harmony. But then, 1971 hits, and something really weird happens. The economy kept growing, except there was no longer everyone getting richer together. Now it was only the rich getting richer, and the middle and lower class basically flatlined, to this day.
Even with globalization, even with the computer revolution, the internet revolution, the biotech revolution, it somehow has not added up to quite as much of a difference as people thought. And if you were in the mid-1960s, people thought it was going to be the Jetsons, you're going to have vacation trips on the moon and flying cars and robots doing all your work. And it hasn't quite happened. It's been just much slower.
Right. The only robot that does any work that I'm aware of is the Roomba little carpet sweeper.
There isn't as much progress happening as advertised, and that rather than racing towards utopia or dystopia, the much bigger problem is one of relative stagnation. It sort of manifests economically, and that for the first time we have a younger generation that's not clearly doing better than their parents.
Family incomes are up. Some from the late 60s, but it's not clear that's the right metric, because you have a lot of families where both spouses are working, and that's very different from the world of the late 60s. And
the inflation rate skyrocketed from around 4% at the start of 1971 to more than double at 8.8% in 1973. By the end of the 70s, it would go up to 12%. Household debt exploded exponentially after 1971. So while lower and middle class incomes stayed stagnant, they were simultaneously getting shackled in debt. College tuition also suspiciously started skyrocketing after 1971. And ask yourself, how many new, real, physical, truly revolutionary technologies like LEDs or fiber optics have we really seen in the last few decades besides reusable rockets? Not much. Something happened. The rules of the game were changed. It was no longer a level playing field. And the best part is that it slipped right underneath the noses of the middle and lower class. And all the signs point back to this one year, 1971. It was the year that rearranged the very fabric of society as we know it. But to understand what happened, we have to take a journey all the way back to World War I. And if you want some free Bitcoin, you can earn up to $250 in free Bitcoin for funding your account on BlockFi. This is not financial advice, but I've already personally made $568.74 in pure interest just by keeping my crypto in my BlockFi interest accounts. I literally did nothing to make this passive income. That's because BlockFi is a great crypto platform that allows you to earn up to 9% APY on crypto that you keep in your accounts. Interest accrues daily and is paid monthly. There are no hidden fees, no minimum balances, and no reason to wait. Click the link below to open up your account and get your free Bitcoin now. Thanks to BlockFi for sponsoring this video. Before World War I hit, trade around the world was conducted on a very simple gold standard. Basically, whatever you wanted from another country, you would pay for in the required weight of gold. This meant that countries that had lots of stuff to export would have more gold than countries who didn't have a lot to export. And before World War I, the system worked pretty well. The governments around the world kinda got along perfectly, which meant trading with gold was simple and easy. But then World War I came around and threw the entire system on its head. The war brought a lot of infighting and disagreements between countries that used to work together. It put a lot of powerful countries in debt. They had to spend a lot of their gold buying weapons and equipment to fight against each other. And gold reserves started being spread around the world much more thinly. By the end of World War I, the US had a serious gold deficit. And once the Great Depression hit, this got even worse. So in 1930, the government pretty much forced Americans to exchange all the gold they had for dollars. They increased the price of gold from $20 an ounce to $35 an ounce, hoping that this would discourage Americans from buying gold in the future. This also meant that a lot of foreign countries suddenly got interested in
Now, if you just heard him, he said they raised the price of gold to $25 to $35 an ounce to discourage people from buying it. Now, for those of you that's been on the live with me, I just played to you on the 85 South show, the Black Banker. He said that they raised the price for the same thing to discourage people from spending money. Why is that? Why are they trying to discourage us from spending money right now? So clearly they're trying to usher in something new. That's the only thing. So let's stay tuned. Let's see if that's what the case is here. They're trying to usher in something new.
in trading their gold for dollars. Since they would be getting so much more money in exchange for their gold, almost every country that had a natural gold source traded it with the US for dollars. By 1939, there was enough gold in the world to replace all the money in circulation. Then World War II hit, and suddenly, the US was dipping into its gold reserves again. And if they thought World War I took a lot of money, World War II was even worse. The two wars had wrecked the global financial system, and the
I gotta run that back for y'all. Let's run that back. I had to go off of mute. Let's go back a few seconds.
a lot of money, World War II was even worse. Then World War II hits, and suddenly, the US for gold, almost every country that had a natural gold source traded it with the US for dollars. By 1939, there was enough gold in the world to replace all the money in circulation. Then World War II hit, and suddenly, the US was dipping into its gold reserves again. And if they thought World War I took a lot of money, World War II was even worse. The two wars.
He said that they had all the gold that they needed But then World War II hit and he started dipping in their reserves. What are the odds that there's another war going on right now, even though it doesn't involve us directly, but it is involving us indirectly? So what are the odds that it's a war going on right now, inflation as well, and they're trying to discourage you to make sure that they don't spend money, that you don't spend money, because it's something coming that they want to make sure that you have money for. And it's this green shit that we were just reading in this fucking article here. Come on. See how my Wi-Fi do me, y'all? Every time I'm trying to make a quick point, it just be doing the whoop-de-whoop on me. You see, but Biden crisis help advance green transition. Come on, man. All this shit play this shit all tying together. Like I said, I hope y'all get what hood news is. You feel me? Like, this is what hood news is. Like, but let's keep going.
Wars had wrecked the global financial system, and the simple gold standard and government taxes just wasn't enough to fund the crazy spending the US had to do. World War II was even worse. In the world to replace all the money in circulation. Then World War II hits, and suddenly the US gold for dollars. Since they would be getting so much more money in exchange for their gold, almost every country that had a natural gold source traded it with the US for dollars. By 1939, there was enough gold in the world to replace all the money in circulation. Then World War II hits, and suddenly the US was dipping into its gold reserves again. And if they thought World War I took a lot of money, World War II was even worse. The two wars had wrecked the global financial system, and the simple gold standard and government taxes just wasn't enough to fund the crazy spending the US had to do. Something had to change. Enter the Bretton Woods system.
At Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, delegates
You heard him. He said something had to change. Then it entered the Bretton Woods system. So it was chaos before they created some type of order through this Bretton Woods International Monetary Conference. Come on, man. And that's what we bought. History repeats itself. Like I said, we just showed you something about being put in the loop too earlier in the show. They will put us in the loop. History always repeats itself here. In this reality, no matter what, history will repeat itself. Like the saying goes, it is nothing new under this sun. Because they got it set up. They got the matrix set up that way. So that way, if you're not shifting in consciousness individually, you'll be stuck within that loop that they got set up within that matrix. And if you're not aware of this matrix, a lot of us are stuck within the matrix some type of way. Even if you are aware of the matrix, you're still involved in the matrix because you realize that the matrix is part of this particular reality, this particular paradigm that they put forth within us and in front of us. So once you're able to see the veil, which is the Wizard of Oz shit, the man behind the curtain, once you're able to have to remove the curtain and see what the game is, then you're able to manipulate the game or the matrix to your favor, to where you're winning. But like I said, we got something coming, y'all. It is something big coming, and it's going to put people in a position to where either they're going to accept it or you're going to have to live that off-grid life straight up. But let's continue on this video.
from 44 allied and associate countries arrived for the opening of the United Nations Monetary and Financial Woods, New Hampshire. Delegates from 40
simple gold standard and government taxes just wasn't enough to fund the crazy spending the US had to do. Something had to change. Enter the Bretton Woods system.
At Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, delegates from 44 allied and associate countries arrived for the opening of the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference. Invited by President Roosevelt to the first major world financial meeting since the London Conference of 1933, they will work in the seclusion of this White Mountains resort.
At the end of the war, the 40 biggest and most important governments in the world all came together at the Bretton Woods Hotel in New Hampshire to try to find a new financial standard that would be less likely to cause a global bankruptcy. The US had more than 75% of the world's gold, and the dollar was one of the only currencies still linked to the gold standard by then. So the countries agreed they would value their national currencies relative to the dollar's value in gold. It was basically a very indirect version of the gold standard that pinned the value of the dollar at $35 per ounce of gold. All the other countries of the world would adjust the value of their currency according to that. And for a while, it worked. The US stockpiled its new gold from countries who wanted to trade in gold for dollars, and the Bretton Woods system became the new way to have a stable currency after a chaotic war. But all things must come to an end, and that end came in the year 1971. So by the late 40s and early 50s, the US had a new superpower, the ability to print as much money as it needed for whatever it wanted. It wasn't supposed to work like that. There was supposed to be a methodical decision-making process that kept the amount of dollars in the world equal to the amount of gold the US has stockpiled, but the temptation to print money was just too great. It was like giving a child the keys to a candy shop. Whenever there was a new national development, social program, or massive technological project, the US could just print the money it needed to pay for it. After all, dollars were as good as gold. With all this extra money, the economy obviously boomed, but it wasn't sustainable. By 1955, America went to war in Vietnam, and suddenly, it needed a lot more money than it had in gold. The Vietnam War carried on for 20 years and cost $168 billion, or around $1 trillion in today's money. To fund it, the government had to print money like crazy, and near the end, this reckless creation of new dollars finally caught up with it. You see, other countries started noticing that the US was printing way more money than it could possibly have in gold. So they got worried. What if the president suddenly announced that instead of $35 for an ounce of gold, it would be now $45 or $50? It would be the perfect way for the US to stay afloat, but it would mean countries like the UK and France would have to pay way more money to get their gold back. So the UK and France decided to quit while they were still ahead, and France sent a warship to New York to pick up their gold.
$1,200, $5,000, and this one is $3,000.
It was 1971, and President Nixon was having none of it. So in one fell swoop, he declared a suspension of anyone's ability to convert dollars into gold.
I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
This short statement would become one of the most pivotal moments in history that hardly anyone knows the importance of. For the first time in modern history, the world's money was no longer tied to anything. For the first time, if you want to take people's wealth, if you want them to work for you as your indentured slaves, no longer did you have to do it at the point of a gun or through taxes, both of which breeds resentment. Now all you had to do was print more money. The more money you printed, the more of their wealth you stole from them without them ever even noticing it before it's too late. Because the dollar amount in their bank account stays the same, but the value of those dollars goes down. What started in 1971 was the greatest con and wealth redistribution scheme humanity has ever seen. And with it, the Bretton Woods system officially came to an end. The money printer was let loose, and the chaos that resulted was subtle, like boiling a frog. Immediately, the dollar's value dropped at least 50%. All that new money pushed up the prices of assets like real estate and stocks, which the rich own and the poor don't, furthering the divide. What used to take 30 hours of work to buy 1 unit of a publicly traded stock in 1860 would take at least 126 hours of work today. 1971 was also the year that the 30-year mortgage standard was introduced, which meant that where you could have bought a house for just 3 years' salary in 1950, you're in debt for the next 30 years today.
Instant money, M-O-N-E-Y, in the form of a convenient personal loan.
So household debt explodes exponentially? College tuition explodes exponentially. The number of lawyers quadrupled. And what did all that debt and divide mean for middle and low income families? Over half of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, even when they make more than $100,000 a year. Most Americans that can save have less than $5,000 in their savings accounts, and the income for the middle and lower classes has stayed nearly the same since 1971, while the upper class continues to climb. The modern pleb is a debt slave draped in Louis. And today, we might be witnessing the grand finale of the dollar. Almost a year ago, I made a video on how 40% of US dollars were printed in the year 2020, one of our most popular videos on the channel. Well, today, the Federal Reserve has updated those numbers.
Did y'all hear what he said? We're about to witness the grand finale of the dollar. And he is not lying, because we're about to shift into the digital age, and they're trying to make money paperless. And with that comes you having a chip. And they already got you conditioned not to have money. How? You got a credit card / debit card, do you not? Oh, yeah, you do. Do you not have a Cash App, Apple Pay, Zelle, Vimo, or whatever else they got out here, Chime? Do you not have these alternative bank account systems which you can control through an app? Yeah, you do. Do you not have the option to either wave your phone or wave your Apple Watch in front of a cash register where you're supposed to put in the card? Yeah, you do. So yeah, they already got you conditioned. They got us all conditioned. I'm not just going to say y'all, because I'm not going to single out anybody, because I'm part of the collective as well. So they already got the collective conditioned to accept being chipped. That's why they push the vaccination shit so hard, because if they can get you vaccinated, they can get you chipped. And since they seen people resist against the vaccination, now they got to go to the drawing board to figure out, damn, how can we get them chipped? They got to figure out other ways, and they have other ways to figure it out to do the shit, but it's just a matter of time of when it's going to show itself. But let me run that back just a little bit, and we're going to finish this video.
The modern pleb is a debt slave draped in Louis. And today, we might be witnessing the grand finale of the dollar. Almost a year ago, I made a video on how 40% of US dollars were printed in the year 2020, one of our most popular videos on the channel. Well, today, the Federal Reserve has updated those numbers, and I redid the math. It's no longer 40% of all US dollars were printed since 2020, not 50%, not even 70%. Nope, since January 2020, the US has printed nearly 80% of all US dollars in existence. 80%. M1. I literally had to do a double take when I saw this number, because what? But yes, at the start of 2020, there was $4 trillion in circulation, and in October 2021, there's over $20 trillion in circulation. That means, ladies and gentlemen, that the government has so far robbed 80% of your wealth in the span of under 2 years. And although you may only feel this theft in higher gas prices and such so far, it's probably gonna get a lot worse. So what is the solution? Not financial advice, but 1, don't get into debt. 2, click the join button below for private documentaries too controversial to be released to the public, to continue to learn how the world really works. And 3 is to hedge your bets against the US dollar and the money printer by putting some money into crypto. And one crypto platform I've been using for a while now is BlockFi, one of the easiest places to store your crypto and earn interest on it at the same time. Like I mentioned before, I've already earned $568.74 in interest just by keeping my crypto in my crypto accounts. I literally did nothing to make this passive income. All you have to do is click the link below, open up your BlockFi account, fund your account, and you could get up to $250 in free Bitcoin as a bonus for signing up. From there, the platform
All right, I guess that's the end of that particular video, because he's talking about that particular Bitcoin app he used, and I don't know nothing about it, so I'm not finna sit there and let that play on my particular channel. Let's see.
allows you to buy crypto instantly and
it is one more video I want to play, y'all. I'm gonna save this one for next time. Let's see. I always got to show y'all something from the Black Excellence Abundance channel. So I'm gonna show y'all black people in America 1,000 years before Columbus. I'm not sure if I played this one. So just to be safe, I'm gonna play this one. Black Kingdoms of Hawaii. Let's see.
On My Heritage, you can build your family tree and make amazing discoveries about your family history really easily. Let me show you how.
Just play the shit. I really want to play the music industry. It's a scam for y'all. Let's see. No, I'm gonna wrap this up. It's been almost going on 2 hours. All right.
I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. Welcome to the Black Excellence and Abundance channel. White Southerners who settled the Hawaiian Islands during the 19th century had a song about the native people which goes like this. You many call them Hawaiian, but they look like N-words to me. From King Kamehameha to Queen Liliuokalani, each Hawaiian ruler was very dark-skinned with Negroid features. It is one of the incredible ironies of history that few Americans are aware of, that the original Hawaiians were black peoples, and their royal family was one of the greatest of the 19th century, by LeGrand H. Glegg II. Did you know that the original natives of Hawaii possessed skin, hair, and way of life that showed they were of African descent? Perhaps America's best kept secret, the first settlers in Hawaii were African and/or African descent who mixed with Native Americans after discovering and settling in the land. However, the history of the ancestry of Native Hawaiians has largely been ignored by scholars to provide clear evidence, while sidelining the little findings by many historians and anthropology scholars. The first Hawaiians and their royal families were dark-skinned with the distinct African features who ruled and lived in an African-style community. That was until the forceful invasion by whites in America who ended the royal lineage after destroying the reign of Queen Liliuokalani. She is known to be the last black royal of Hawaii and was the first and only woman to rule her people between 1891 and 1893. This information was presented in our previous video called Hawaii's Original Black Kings, Queens, and People. Be that as it may, we are compelled to repeat this information in this presentation because we cannot say it enough. The original kings, queens, and monarchs of Hawaii were black people. Yes, black kings and queens here in America. We want to make it perfectly clear that we are not speaking about the current inhabitants of Hawaii. We are speaking about the original Aboriginal Hawaiians. They were black people, kings, queens, princes, and princesses, black monarchies, black royalty here in America. Few societies on Earth have undergone the immense and fast-moving changes brought on by foreign discovery during the 18th and 19th centuries than Hawaii. In ancient times, this self-sufficient and battle-ready civilization was estimated to have been over 1 million people strong, spread out on 6 major islands. Hawaii has over 130 islands. King Kamehameha the Great battled for an estimated 40 years to bring the islands under his rule. His success was due to his brutal determination and intelligence, knowing when to make alliances and when to attack. Supported by his people and young wife, Ka'aumanu, he continued his quest to unite all the islands until the job was finished. He became the first monarch of the Kingdom of Hawaii. His 8 family members ruled through 100 years of strife and change until the kingdom was overthrown by American businessmen in 1893 and annexed or overtaken by the United States in 1898.
To all those who question if the monarchs of Hawaii were black, I ask you, is Kelly Curtis black? Is the Dolphins' new head coach, Mike McDonald, is he black? And what about the late, great Adam Clayton Powell Jr.? Was he black? The bottom line is, you can't go by the color of a person's skin to determine if they are so-called black. King Kamehameha I, from the spring of 1795 to May 8th, 1819. Also known as Kamehameha the Great, was the founder and first ruler of the Kingdom of Hawaii. The state of Hawaii gave a statue of him to the National Statuary Hall Collection in Washington, D.C. as one of 2 statues it is entitled to install there. I don't know, folks. He looks black to me. King Kamehameha II, his son, was the heir to the throne, and he was on the throne from May 20th, 1819 to July 14th, 1824. His birth name was Liho. King Kamehameha III, from June 6, 1825 to December 15, 1854. His birth name, Kiwihulo. King Kamehameha IV, January 11, 1855 to November 30th, 1863. He reigned as the 4th monarch of Hawaii. And King Kamehameha V, November 30th, 1863, December 11th, 1872. His motto was immovable, firm, steadfast, or determined. He worked diligently for his people and kingdom and was described as the last great traditional chief. The 6th king who held the crown was King Lunalilo from January 8th, 1873 to February 3rd, 1874. He had a very short reign of just over a year before his passing. The 7th king was King Kalakila, February 12, 1874 to January 20th, 1891. He was sometimes known as the Merry Monarch and was the last king, penultimate monarch of the Kingdom of Hawaii. And he was also the brother of the Queen Liliuokalani. And the last monarch to hold that crown was Queen Liliuokalani. She held it from January 29, 1891 to January 17, 1893. She was the last queen of the royal family to hold that position. And she was also a composer. She wrote many, many songs, and she was loved by all. A beautiful queen mother. We get a lot of people that come on our channel and talk about that the original Hawaiians were not black, that they were really Asian and they weren't black. And my question is, if that's the case, where are the original Asian statues of the original kings and queens? We're presenting proof who the original kings and queens, the original kingdoms of Hawaii, were obviously black people. You know, I find it very interesting. If you took these same people out of their royal garb, take them out of their royal surroundings and their clothing and what have you, and if they committed crimes, oh, they'd be black then. I guarantee you, they all would be black then. And if you can briefly take a look at this table, the comparative number of the natives and the other populations from the other countries like China and Japan and Portugal, etc., you'll notice that the natives had a very high number during the 1870s through the 1900s. So we're not talking about the people who inhabit the land now. We're talking about the originals, the Aboriginal Hawaiians, black people. And the other thing that we have to consider is that when you consider, let's consider the education that we have been given, you know, the so-called history that we've been getting. These are the same people that's trying to give us history lesson on who we are. No, thank you. We know who we are. We know that pretty much everything that we've been taught have been lies, have been the truth, have been suppressed. No. We know who we are. We do not need your help. You can miss me with that crap. And when you come in here disputing me, understand this. You're not disputing me. You're disputing the history, you're disputing the archaeologists, you're disputing the scholars and the people who've done the research. We're just presenting the evidence. Don't argue with me. Argue with the statue of this queen because she speaks for herself. People like Maxine Martz, who wrote The Hawaiian Monarchies, The Romantic Years, and people like Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. Joseph Ben Yakimin, and people like Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, and others who have written and studied history for years and years and years. Scholarly people. That's who you're disputing. And we've gotten these comments of people trolling saying, oh, you claim everyone that was great was black. All of the great people from Africa, they were black. They wasn't black. And that is not true. We do not claim everyone is black. But everyone we present, they are black. And you can best believe that. Now, we do want to point out that there were many other kings and queens in the Hawaiian Islands. The Hawaiian Islands make up over 130 islands. And the ones that we show here are the most prominent. They're the ones that unified the islands in as much as possible. The Black Excellence and Abundance channel, where Black history is every day.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to like,
My bad, y'all. I kind of got sidetracked. I just read some shit that just blowed me. And I'm going to share it with y'all too. Because it's like, what the fuck? I don't know how to process that currently. It just kind of fucked me up. Let's go back to the DM. So check this out. California passed AB 1604. You are officially a descendant of slaves in the eyes of California, whether you can track down slaves in your genealogy or not. What the fuck? Let's see. Oh, yes, I can pause this. And this is from California Legislative Information Bill text. Let's see. This is from this particular website. Date published March 7th, 2022 at 9 p.m. Amended in Assembly March 7th, 2022. Amended in Assembly February 23rd, 2022. So basically, they had a whole meeting, like I showed y'all, in regards to us and made this decision on our behalf. How is that right? California legislator 2021 with that boom, 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 and an act to amend sections. Woo, 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 woo. Let's see what else they got. As using section, the following definitions apply. African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States means individuals who self-identify as black, which I just showed y'all. Black really means pale or white. So, you know, they're referring to the other people, Caucasian, the Caucasoid, or however you want to define them, the genome or whatever, or African American. So they made sure they cleared it up. So if you defined yourself as black, which is not really black, or African American, which is another bullshit title if you do the research, because they don't even got slave ships to produce that. Slavery even happened in regards to what I mean by slavery didn't happen by them taking people from Africa and going the routes that they taught us in school. They enslaved the individuals that were already on this particular part of the continent, which is known as the Native American Indians, which they have proof of that in your history books, that the Native American Indians were enslaved first because they took them over to Spain or Europe or whatever to show the king at the time that there were people over there to enslave. So let's get back to this. Individuals who self-identify as Black are African American with at least one ancestor who was enslaved or subject to chattelization. Wow. they consider you chattel. Chattelization in the United States. 2. African Blacks means individuals with origins from the continent of Africa, including but not limited to one or more of the following countries: Algeria, Angola, Benin, Botswana. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm sorry, y'all. Burkina Faso, Brunei, Cabo Verde, Cameroon, Central Africa Republic, Chad, Comoros, Cote d'Ivoire, Democratic Republic of Congo, Djibouti, Egypt, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Gabon, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Kenya, Lesotho, Liberia, Libya, Madagascar, pretty much all the countries in Africa, Somalia, South Africa, South Sudan, Zimbabwe, pretty much everybody under Africa, the continent of Africa, you fall under this category. If you feel like you African Blacks, you mean one of these individuals, you fall under that category. Then here we go. Here's the kicker. Caribbean Blacks mean individual with origins for Caribbean countries, including but not limited to one or more of the following countries: Belize, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, my home country, Barbados, Grenada, St. Croix, St. Kitts, the Bahamas, and the Dominican Republic. Yo, you fall under that too. If you think you wasn't Black, oh yeah, you Black too. Other African American or Black mean individuals with African ancestry is covered up, originating from any country not including in paragraph 2 or 3. Let's see what else they're gonna show us. Let's see, share it is. It's the same thing. Damn. So, hey, pretty much, if you're from any one of those countries or continents that I named off, or pretty much the Caribbean or whatever, you consider the descendant of a slave in California. So, ta-da! Congratulations, it's official. Hopefully, we get reparations. Maybe, probably not. Who knows? If they do, it's going to be the biggest catch behind that shit. Please believe it's going to be the biggest catch behind the reparations if they do give out reparations. So let's go ahead and wrap up, because I see people's on and they're not on, and they're on, they're not on. You know, you guys are not interacting with me in the chat currently, so I'm not going to hold you up too much longer. Hopefully that's because you're entertained by the information. But it's one thing. I just recently watched this Cat Williams special, and one thing about Cat Williams, he gonna make sure he give you some truth in what he's presenting. He brings up a point in this particular part that I just found interesting, and I'm just gonna play it real quick. And I can't play it too long because I don't want them to cut the live, nor do I want them to tell me that, hey, gave you a warning, so we're gonna give you another strike because you're playing other people's shit. So here we go. Whatever, fuck it. We gonna do what we do. I just make another profile on their ass. But let's go. Y'all pay attention to this.
Now the Christians don't say nothing. Now that there's real plagues outside. The Christians going to church on Sunday like Joe Biden. But the truth is, all of us get lied to. Even the Christians. They'll lie to any of us. Because they just don't want you to know the fucking truth because you might feel good about yourself.
They don't want you to know the truth because you might feel good about yourself. And I'm going to be ad-libbing this right now because, like I said, I don't want them to cut this. So I'm going to play it, pause it so we can get to the point. So let's go.
It's only that. Well, they don't want to tell you because they'll know it'll fuck you up. But it's the truth, though. They made that whole Garden of Eden up, putting slander on our Lord. Talking about an apple tree. Oh, and they ate the apple. Hey, bitch, my God don't fuck with fruit like that. What the fuck? You act like God will put our whole life on the line over a piece of fruit, bitch?
Now think about that. Do you really think that humanity will be put on the line based on if you chose to eat this particular fruit that they speak of in the Bible like they do? And there's some humor behind this, and you're going to see the humor coming up, but there's truth behind it as well. And I hope you see the truth behind the humor. So let's go ahead and keep going.
If God didn't want you to eat the fruit, Him wouldn't have made the fruit.
Really think about that. If it wasn't something that was meant for you to eat, why was it made? Yeah, it's silence because I really want you to think about that. Because if this is a loving God, and this is no slander because I'm not downplaying anything, I believe that there's a creator. I just don't believe that how they set up religion is what it is. And what you believe is what you believe, and you're cool to believe that. But here on this platform, you know, it's hood news. We shining light on situations that seem spooky. You feel what I'm saying? But let's keep going.
They just covering up a lie. Because the truth too painful. Ain't no motherfucking apple tree, bitch.
Listen to this.
You are the tree. This the tree. You the tree, bitch. You are the tree. All right, so if you the tree, then what the fuck is the fruit? This the fruit. If this a tree, this the fruit. The message was,
here's the humor. Here's the humor.
They lied to the Christians too. Made up a whole bunch of religious stories because they didn't want you to know the truth because the truth is painful. The truth is, your mama's a hoe.
And there's the humor to cover up the truth that he just gave to us. He gave you a breakdown of what they're referring to in Genesis, but he had to throw the humor on there, your mama a hoe, just so you can get over the real truth. But he's telling you right here, the truth is painful, but it's the truth. And he's telling you truth. And if you do research, yeah, he's right. When they refer to the tree, you are the tree. Because there's different religions that say that you are the tree. Even in the Islam, or your boys that's rocking with Farrakhan, Allah, arm, leg, arm, head. You know what I'm saying? So if you know, you just know. If you've been down the rabbit hole, you understand what he's metaphorically saying when he's saying that you are the tree. But let's continue, because he's saying some more stuff in here that I want to get through, and trying to make sure, as I explained, we're gonna keep pausing so we make sure we don't get cut. Fuck you, YouTube. No, not really. I fuck with you, YouTube. But fuck you, YouTube.
Look at the Christians, that's far enough, cat. Yep. That's the story of Genesis. Your mama know. Said you still need to believe. Yep. You talking about the lady that.
And listen to what he just said. Listen to the people that don't want to believe it. This was very witty with his joke, because at the beginning he said that people, basically in so many ways, people won't accept the truth. They won't tell us the truth because they either trying to cover something up or the truth is painful. And he sat there and gave you an example. See, the truth is your mama a hoe. That's a painful truth to sit there and accept. And he say, look, you still don't even want to believe it. And he's very witty with his comedy. And I suggest you guys watch it, because you got a couple gems in there if you just he just drop them. But let's keep going.
Fuck the man and the snake in front of God. This bitch was for the streets 5,000 years before they came up with the streets. But you believe the world is fucked up because of fruit. No, it ain't that.
That's what he said. You believe the world is fucked up because of fruit.
Adam was God's son. So who the fuck was Eve? That wasn't his motherfucking wife. That wasn't his girlfriend. That was God's daughter, bitch. The fuck? That's incest, bitch. That shit cannot be fixed. That's why that ratchet ass got thrown out the garden.
Look, he's presenting you truth with humors, because that is true. If you really technically look at it, if you want to go by what they tell you in the Bible, she was pulled from the rib of Adam, allegedly. That will make him his sibling. That will make her his sibling. I mean, I'm not sure how it would not, because I don't even see how that's possible, because just after that, miraculously, it just was set up to, like, no matter what, in order for you to come into this plane, you got to go through the vagina of a woman. But let's continue real quick.
There they got them as relationship goals. Just say they lie to all of us. Don't want to tell us nothing about nothing. We done been to 300 planets in space. 300. Earth.
Podcasting.
Plus 300. We done been there. Now you notice they ain't never bringing back no souvenirs. There's some shit they don't want you to know. Down here on this planet, we know all about evolution. Don't we know evolution? We know exactly how it works. Don't we? We know life will find a way. They'll start out small, and then it just get better and better and better and better.
And as you stated, that's a fact. We do evolve naturally. Everything evolves naturally. That's part of the universe. Let me go to one more part real quick. I know I probably done played too long of it, and I need to wrap up. Got some stuff to do at the studio. Let's see, at the 35-minute mark. Play a little bit before. Let's go.
Don't overdo it. God know what's best for you. You don't know your spine is built to take 90 pounds, ladies. Some of your spine say 90 pounds at the bottom. God wrote right there, 90 pounds. You done went to the Dominican Republic and got 72 pounds of titties, 68 pounds of ass. Put it on that same stock frame. When you turn 55, bitch, you are gonna fold up like a fan at the nursing home.
And basically, there's the truth within the humor again. And it's the reason why I'm playing that is not to knock any women, because I'm here for it, the natural bodies. And hey, man, hopefully that you get over your insecurities or whatever you find insecure. Because like he said, don't overdo it. God created you perfectly how you are. And like I told you last week, it's a guy out here that loves you just how you are. Don't go out there risking having bad health later on in life just because you want to have some bullshit ass enhancements. And that, as I explained, that's another way that they're prepping you for transhumanism. So when it comes time to take a chip or get a mechanical part or anything like that, you're going to be willing to take it because you're already willing to do this type of work on your body. But let's go ahead and continue.
But you can be a superhero though. Fellas, they got a trap out there for us too. Sometimes Satan sounds just like the Lord.
Listen to that. He says sometimes Satan sounds just like the Lord.
Satan set a trap out there.
And there's something else I wanted y'all to see in regards to that. Because he said Satan sounds just like the Lord. And I'm going to give you an example of that. For those of you that be out here trying to connect with the other side and whoop de whoop, or that's dealing with certain things, certain spirits, or trying to connect with certain things, you got to be careful because the spirits out here presenting themselves as familiars, and you'll think you're talking to who you're trying to reach out to, but it's not really whom you're reaching out to. Now there's this animation called The Laws of the Sun, and this particular movie has a lot of information into it. I would recommend watching it. Get a notepad, and if you know, you know. These one of these movies, if you know, you know. And if you can't follow what this particular cartoon is talking about, take some notes and look some stuff up, because this cartoon is real informative. But check this part out in regards to, like he said, Satan would disguise himself. Check this shit out.
Are you Yashodhara?
Now, Siddhartha, come with me.
The pleasures of the flesh will only bring about pain and suffering. True happiness does not and never will exist in such pleasures. The devil You are the daughters of Mara. And yet there must be the light of angels within each one of you. You have merely forgotten this, and so you are filled with greed and driven to do evil. That is why you must suffer in hell.
If you wish to be beautiful.
Now, if you see through this depiction, he was able to see through the deception. Now, there's another example that they're about to show you. And I know it's an animation, but they tell truth through cartoons, through every movie, through everything. There's some type of truth within it. It's depending on if you catch it or not. Here's another example they're going to show you.
Siddhartha, Gautama Siddhartha. I am the god who countless numbers of generations have long worshipped. I am Brahma. I was very impressed. You have become quite enlightened. But young Siddhartha, in your relentless pursuit of enlightenment, you have forgotten something very important that will affect your quest. You have neglected a basic principle of being human. You have abandoned your father. Am I wrong?
Unacceptable! Absolutely not! Who will rule this country while you run off to become a monk? Especially in these times of war, our Shakya clan is constantly vulnerable and exposed. It's not as
Now, if you look, he's in the midst of meditation. And this entity came to him during his meditation, and he's playing on some of his trauma.
You can protect this country. You are my only hope. The future of the Shakya clan lies with you. What will we do without you?
Your heart must be aching. That is natural for a human. Oh yes, I remember now. You also left your mother crying and heartbroken.
There you are. Prajapati.
What is it, Your Majesty?
What are you thinking about?
About Siddhartha. I was simply wondering if I was ever a good enough mother to him.
You did everything for that boy. You loved him as your own when his real mother passed away. You are not responsible for his decision to become a monk. Do not let it concern you.
Once again, playing on his traumas, or things he had took as a traumatic that he found as trauma.
Yet I have even more pity for the wife and child that you abandoned. Isn't it the most important thing for you human beings to get married and find happiness through your family life?
Wait a minute.
Now, if you've seen there, he's showing you how certain things mentally can tie us down. Our own mind, our own mental barriers we create for ourselves. That's the imagery behind what you see, those dark clouds wrapping around him.
Should I
right
return
now
to the palace of Copula to succeed my father to the throne?
These dark clouds here, these represent his trauma and how you can create your own mental barriers.
Yes, that is exactly what you should do now. Hurry back and return to the palace. You will make everyone happy. You have tried your best, and that is good enough. Now go back to your home and live for the
Now, mind
happiness
you,
of
this
your
is an
family and
entity that he
clan.
channeled.
You may remain spiritual by keeping in contact with me, Brahma. You should try to enjoy your life as much as possible in this world. After all, isn't that why you were born into this world? The more you enjoy yourself in this world, the greater your happiness will be in the next.
The more I enjoy myself in this world. I was unable to find any clues for enlightenment through ascetic discipline. And yet, the luxurious life of the palace seemed just as empty. Physical pain as well as physical pleasure, both extremes must be denied. The middle path between pain and pleasure must be followed in order to pursue the truth.
Now, what's going on here is
The more I
self-realization.
enjoy myself in this world, the greater my happiness will be in the next. Perhaps it is my attachment to this world, still lurking in my mind, that is causing these thoughts. You are not Brahma.
Through his self-realization, he understands that this is not the real entity that he was
How can you
trying
say
to
that to
channel.
me, Siddhartha? I am merely concerned about you.
Quiet. You are Mara, the devil. I can see your true form.
But Siddhartha, once again you have impressed me with your abilities. So you have discovered my true identity. Well, you should have gone back to...
So you get the gist of the point I'm trying to make through this animation. So let's get back to what Cat Williams is talking about, so we get the point that he's trying to make. I'm gonna go back again so you can hear what he said, so you know the reason why I just showed you that animation. Soon as my Wi-Fi stop boofing, you see how y'all see how my Wi-Fi do me, y'all. As soon as I be trying to drive my points home and shit. Oh my god. Just play, bro. Oh Lord. All right. I give up. I'm not even finna sit here and play. That might just be a sign I need to go ahead and jump off with y'all, and I may not need to play anymore, so they don't fuck up my video, because I don't want them to remove it. So look, I appreciate all y'all for tapping in, who been in here with us for the past 2.5 hours. This has been a long version of Hood News, but like I said, I hope you get it. I hope you understand what Hood News is. Like, share, subscribe. If you got any information that you'd like for me to share on my platform, feel free to DM me. As you can see, my Instagram is at Coolie.bk. That's COOLIE.bk. If you want to donate to the channel, you can hit the Cash App Magic 8 Money. Like I say, if you need anything in regards to any information to like doing some off-grid stuff, or you, like I say, you have any information that you want me to share, feel free to tap in with me through the DM. As you see, I share stuff. Like, I sit there and share stuff that I feel is informative, that I see on Instagram or anything that's social media, that I feel that would be helpful to anyone that tap into my platform. Also check out my podcast channel, my other podcast, Compound Talk. We got some more interviews coming soon on that particular channel, Compound Talk. I mostly interview all the artists that come through to my studio, or all the artists that may come through into the city that tap in with us when they come through and do a show, whether they are comedians or just local artists in the city, also local business owners. We also have local business owners on that podcast as well. You can find, I got episodes. Let me show y'all. Let me show y'all. Compound Talk. We got episodes on YouTube already. All you got to do is tap in Compound Talk. And we got a few episodes already on there. We got more episodes to come. So feel free to check them out. And they're pretty good. Some pretty good in-depth interviews. I think we have about 7 on deck. So definitely tap in and check that out. We live in a nation different. You definitely won't be disappointed by this content right here. It's very entertaining for real. And these are a lot of local people that's doing things, and some people that's not local. But as I explained, feel free to reach out to me. COOLIE.BK. That's on Instagram. Once again, it's been an episode of Hood News. I hope y'all had a good week. Have a great weekend. You feel me? And we're going to be on next week. Y'all enjoy.